video, I'm going to share what I consider to be the best practices for recording your part for a virtual performance of a jazz ensemble or a big band. So a lot of the things I'm going to talk about are going to apply to whatever large ensemble, whether it's a virtual choir or a virtual orchestra, but we're going to be talking specifically about jazz band instruments and what I think the best way to go about recording yourself is on zero budget. So I understand that a lot of people that have never considered recording themselves are going to be recording themselves this fall and going forward. As long as the pandemic goes on and people aren't able to meet with their groups in person, this is the next best thing, and it's understandable why so many people are trying to do it. So first of all, I think that most people that don't have specialized recording equipment, the best thing they're going to have is either their laptop or a smartphone. So for the purposes of this video, I'm going to assume you have one or the other or both, and that you're able to use them for recording your part of the project. If you're going to be recording on an iPhone, an iPad, or a Macintosh computer, I recommend just going with GarageBand. It works great, and it comes free with those devices. If you're using a PC, I've heard great things about Reaper, which seems to have a lot of the same functionality as GarageBand and is also available for free. Audio Recorder by Sony Mobile Communications is great, but from my searches online, it seems to have been discontinued recently. But other people online have been recommending Smart Recorder. So you're going to record your part of a virtual big band performance. Your band director or musical director is going to send you two files, most likely. The first one's going to be an audio file to play along with, and the second one is going to be a PDF of your sheet music. Essentially what you're doing is queuing up the audio file and recording along with it so that anything you record is in sync with that audio file. So I've gotten a lot of advice from people as to what the best way to record with your phone is. So I tried them out. What I found, honestly, is if you're using something like GarageBand, it kind of does the heavy lifting for you. Like when you start playing, it adjusts the gain to where it needs to be, and it gets a pretty good level, and it doesn't distort, even playing lead trumpet straight into my phone, which is something that honestly surprised me. It doesn't sound as good as a dedicated recording setup with a microphone and all that stuff, but it sounds definitely good enough to be part of a larger project. What I recommend is putting your phone down right next to your music and just leaving it there and not touching it while you record. And if you touch it, it's going to pick that up. Record the entire song, and then if you're using something as sophisticated as GarageBand, I'd go back and fix my mistakes and get essentially a perfect take. So we're in GarageBand. You can see the top track is the play along that I brought in, and the bottom track's where I'm going to record trumpet. So here we go. As you can see here, I made a mistake playing this on the first time through, so I'm actually going to do a punch-in. So you just cue up right in front of where that figure is, and then push record, and we give it another try. When you send back a recording of yourself, you're sending only the recording of yourself. So what you're normally going to do if you're recording in GarageBand or something like that is have one track at the top of GarageBand that is your play-along file, then the next track is going to be your instrument. Then when you're getting ready, when you're finished, mute the audio track that you were sent, so you're left with only your instrument, and don't add any effects or reverb or anything like that. And in fact, GarageBand adds some reverb by default, so you want to go in and set it to clean before you export it. Then export the file that's just your performance and send that off. The other thing you're going to send off is a video of you playing. So if you watch these videos, it's kind of like a magic show or an illusion, because it looks like all these people are recording their part perfectly along to each other, and it somehow magically syncs up later. But couldn't be further from the truth. Honestly, You want to record your part and take as many tries as you want without worrying how you look or whether your face is square into the camera or any of that kind of stuff. Just get a good recording of your instrument and then go back and take the video. When I do videos to submit to other people, I usually cue up the music and just have it blasting out of my computer speakers while I play along with it toward the camera. If you're using a smartphone, you're gonna have a choice. Do you do vertical video or horizontal video or widescreen? I recommend using widescreen unless you're told specifically otherwise. Second, if you're using a smartphone or a laptop, the camera isn't great. I'm recording this on my smartphone right now. When you're using a less than professional camera, you're gonna need as much light as possible in order for things to not look grainy or create artifacts. You know, when you record something at night and everything looks a little bit fuzzy, that's because not enough light is getting to the sensor inside of the lens. Without getting too technical, you basically want as much light as possible. I'm recording this late in the afternoon, but it's a sunny day and it's not too bad. I opened up all the windows and turned on all the lights to get it as bright as possible in this room so that I look as good as I do now. Let's talk about framing your shot. Face straight into the camera or be a little bit below the camera. I set my camera up a few inches above my eye line so that I'm looking up towards it. It's a little more flattering of a shot. And they can see my face. So let me show you an example of me playing trumpet from this angle. And you can see my trumpet well. I'm playing towards you as if you were in the audience. And you can see my face, which is honestly what people want to see when they look at a video of people performing. Here's some other examples of musicians holding their instruments. Trombone is very similar to trumpet in that regard. Saxophone, I know that you can't necessarily see all of the buttons, but again, their face is where the emotion comes from, and that's what people want to see. Piano's a little bit different. It's probably better to set up from the side so that they can see your fingers playing while you're going. If you're in the rhythm section, or if you're recording an improvised solo, you're gonna have to record video at the same time that you record audio, which is a little bit tricky with a no equipment setup. I recommend trying to get a second phone or a laptop in order to do this and use one of your devices as the audio and the other one for the video. Your phone position is gonna make a bit of a difference when you're recording audio, especially if you're recording a drum set. If it's too high, you're gonna get all cymbals. If it's too low, you're gonna get all bass drum. My instinct is sort of across the room. Just push record, run over to your drum set and record. You're gonna want your camera at a place where it's far enough away that you can see some cymbals and some drums, but still see your face because that's where your emotions are coming from. If you're recording an improvised solo, I recommend pushing record on the recorder and then recording a bunch of solos in a row. Before each one, go solo, take one, then cue up the play along, and then play your solo. Then when that's done, stop the play along, go solo, take two, cue up the play along, play another solo, until you get one that you really, really like. It'll make it easy to cut the video apart and make it honestly really easy for your band director to find which part that you meant to use. Finally, before you send your audio file and your video file back to the band director, I recommend naming the files something obvious. So something on the order of, trumpet 3, Elliot Deutsch, name of the song. So it's really obvious what's going on and they can keep track of it. And for the video, I would name it the same thing. The audio file will be like .wav or however you export it. And the video file will be like .move or whatever the video format is. I wouldn't stress too highly about what format the audio or the video are in. Most professional quality workstations like Logic or Pro Tools are able to take in all different types of files and bit rates and so on and make them work well enough. And if we're talking about a project where some of the people are recording straight into their smartphones, I can't imagine that having a different bit rate is going to make a humongous difference. When you're able to upgrade your setup, you can get much better quality and have an easier workflow with a little bit fancier equipment, but there's no reason you can't have a very successful project with lots of musicians recording straight into their smartphones. Hey, before you go, I've got some more tutorials in the works and some more virtual big band performances coming up. So please hit the like button, hit subscribe, leave a question in the comments. I'm trying to think of more things that I can talk about. So if you ask me a really juicy question, I might come back with a video. So thank you very much for watching, and I'll catch you next time.